themselves. Just kind of animals all over. And went out there and but when it comes to the idea that the Rangers have no sense to me, because for JT Miller, he's a guy that plays primarily center on the right. You take a look at the Rangers on their right side depth right now. You've got lots of them more on the right side. I don't really worked out as well as you would have wanted it to. I've been spaced off of that. A lot of Rangers fans have been kind of harping about that. If you have Capo Castro, who is supposed to be the next two, he's not available right now. He's currently injured. And there is Sammy Blade and Cheeto who are also there. I think both these guys have been out of the year. Cheeto was straight up not playing. might be able to. Creative in the action. What? Johnny's on base to transfer system. Name is on base. And then the game. And 92. Divided by 3. 364. That's what we're looking for. Three ball players, damage over is 364. Right. No. Yeah. Good. That's easy. This piece really need to be here. Yes, it does. Okay, here's what we want. Number 1. Thank you for Brother Jen. Number 2. David Gunn. Another good idea. So, man, why that? Contract is so difficult at the time. We won't be able to take something contract to get rid of any of that. Then a lot of things. Really no work. Here, we can resolve it. A lot. A lot of people are going to get it weight. Later, that's why we're not going to do that. Right? But they get 50 games done. Why do you like it? Okay, number 3. John Addison. Ooh, Jack, reckon up the mail already. And again, we have no problem with the bell. The problem, you got everything that's probably the I think it's okay. I don't know. You're going to get a guy after the organization, especially baseball, because he's got knowledge,
with an active family. A 40-20-40 split folding second row.
Over the years, I've maxed out what I'd love to read about every single game that runs up road defense. There's admittedly a lot more to admire than despise in their matches. This was never more apparent than my recent replay from Team Souls all the way to second row in anticipation for Elvis Gray. An extended hiatus from the series allowed me to look upon it with a fresh perspective, bringing about a desire to do something I've never done. Take a single video to share my thoughts on the series as a whole. To discuss various overarching themes, design philosophies, and shared attributes rather than loose games from there. With one caveat, bosses are officially off limits. I think my borderline obsessive appreciation for them has been well documented. So without further ado, here's 10 things.
back to sweet Nirvana against them. The way I see it, the moment you embrace that fog, the level is done, finished. Every ounce of my focus is to burn into that glass I'm rewarded with for completing the journey to it. The rust of battle is what I want to become fully engrossed in. An atmosphere of pure bloodlust. You know, like Zuka from Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, I'm not the soul boss. Anything in the way at that point is meaningless. Even if I can rave all day about FromSoft's level design, repetitively having it shoved down my throat when I feel like past it is a sour feeling. Especially when a boss is difficult and requires extensive attempts and especially when the run back itself is horrendous. Take a boss I raved about in my last video on underrated bosses, Falsing a lot. That intense elevator ride.
Oh wow, Rudy, assholes. Don't want to pray for me?
Ministers and dragons blocking your path. Take another boss from that place. The Run. No other reason it's so great for countless bonfire active farming, because his bonfire is 2 inches from his player. And poison in my eye all day long if it's just a quick track back to back. And I'm focusing on split bosses. Don't even get me started on offensive roadbacks and skirmishes of suckets in the optional Dark Souls 2 DLC area. These hell scenes supposedly intended for multiple players supporting orgy of petrification with a mediocre gank invasion. A passive domain makes out of your reach to slow you while faster enemies gangbang you on reach to a copy-paste of hard track battle. You paid for this. So that's hardly as offensive as reindeer fuckland. My favorite rocky vacation featuring an endless colonoscopy of antlers and obscuring players' vision in an empty wasteland rather than developing anything compelling at all. Much like the double helping a copy-paste pussy from the same DLC waiting for you at the very end. These are by far some of the most egregious. And I will concede that FromSoft has lessons sort of run backs from later entries, especially in Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro. In fact, Miyazaki recently stated run backs to be released in Elden Ring, which I can confirm from my experience in the network test. It's a wonderful thing to see FromSoft learning from their mistakes. I also love the guns when it comes to being merciless. You can summarize my complaints about run backs as if they're used time that takes everything away from what I really want to enjoy. I can't wail like a baby all day long, but that doesn't take the fact that at the time, developers decided run backs as part of what they wanted the player to overcome and then struggle with the long battle. Dark Souls is rife with the perception of unfair moments like this, and while I'd love to say that I hate them, I have to admit that the momentary anger subsides in hindsight when I can view them from a objective perspective. These moments play a large role in shaping the player experience. It's exactly what Miyazaki wants. He's on record saying difficulty has never been his goal. Big challenges are simply a way to push the players back against the wall and see how they respond. In many cases, they provide a perfect balance of intentional design and player agency. That allowing the player to reflect on their mistakes and admit, I see what I could have done different, it's my fault, not the game's. Then you have cases like Reindeer Fuckland. On what planet is tossing endless powerful enemies at the player while blinded in an obscure search for an exit balanced design? It's not at all. The thing is, I don't think that was the goal. Rather, they want to test your limits. Really push you to the point of being uncomfortable, drive you to the very brink where you're so fed up you're about ready to stop play. But no. Rather, you don't want to admit defeat. Start to gain momentum back. Strategize, use ground and skill, start scripting hopefully influencing tasks until you claim victory. This is the goal of these games, to push you to that edge, see how you respond, and hopefully give you a meaningful feeling at the end. Sometimes, in the case of Iron Passage, that might be a sigh of relief saying, thank God it's over. More often than not, though, you're overwhelmed with an immeasurable euphoria. Even in the event you find in hindsight you didn't enjoy the experience or felt slighted, it made such a deep impression on us that we're still talking about it years later. I can't lie and say some of these moments don't bring out immense frustration. But better or worse, nearly all of them end in a feeling of pure elation. Well played. When looked at more closely, singular aspects of design can lead to my second love, situational narrative. Rather than something relating to the overarching story,
All right, we are 3 weeks from today away from the trade deadline. And pretty sure I haven't talked about the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers are a very good trade. They currently sit outside of the playoff spot only because on the tiebreaker, Dallas has played one less game and has one less regulation loss than the Edmonton Oilers. So it really looks like the race for that final spot is down the wire. Anaheim can turn it around and try to snag that last spot. Vancouver is coming along and they're only 3 points back now. Winnipeg is possible. Winnipeg goes on a run. So for Edmonton, they have to keep an eye on a lot of teams around them. Their cap space is not ideal. Their deadline cap space, according to Cap Friendly, right now would be $1,261,304, which is not enough. And there's been a lot of talk about the goaltending, which is great, and that's fine to have some discussion about what they're going to do with the goaltending. But they don't have the cap space to add a goaltender without making another distraction somewhere else. So the cap space for next season is also a concern. Right now, according to Cap Friendly, $7,026,205. So the other issue is, now, for the upcoming, they have Lavoie, they have Holloway, right? Holloway very well could be a top 6 level forward, could allow them to trade somebody else out, but until somebody plays in the NHL, we just don't know. I don't think we saw Tanner Jeannot becoming the force he's been in Nashville, and then there's other opposite events that take place. When you look at their depth, you can look at Tyler Benson, this guy who was projected to be pretty good. I thought he was going to be steal up the draft. It has not turned out at the NHL level at this point, offensively, like some of us good night. So Holloway obviously has a higher ceiling and floor than what we saw from Benson before he moved up. Just using that as an example. So the record's 29-21-3. The power play 26.5%, which is good. It has struggled though in recent months compared to where it was early in the season. Because early in the season it was a ridiculous, approximately 50% plus, which no team can do that. So they did. Their penalty kill is considered 76.4%. And this is where that question comes in. Is it the defense? Is it the goaltending? And I think the answer is kind of somewhere in the middle of them. It's kind of. So, your unrestricted free agents for 2022. You have Evander Kane, who has a prorated, because he signed late in the season. He has a prorated cap hit of $2.1 million. That's the average. In 14 games, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. The offense has fallen off the last few games and look who the opponents have been the last 2 games, so that's understandable. And it Kane's fit in well, but you only have $7 million in cap space for next year. If Kane plays well from here, and they do get into the playoffs, well, his asking price is going to be high enough that either you keep Kane, and you have no cap space for next year, or you find a way to maybe keep him and trade somebody else out, or you have to let him go. It's going to be one of those 3. Colton Seager, $750,000, 32 games, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points per game. Seager is a fill-in who can clear waivers. He's shown that this year. I like Seager, but probably, if they decide to bring it back, it should be easy enough. Koskinen is $4.5 million coming off the books this year. 1882 record with a .901 save percentage. And is goaltending good enough? I think over this past season, probably not as good as you want it to be. But you bring Koskinen back. And so there's questions Ken Holland's going to have to answer, regardless of what happens from here, about what to do with the goaltending. Because Koskinen, again, that 901 save percentage is fantastic, but he is 1882. And he has some very good games. He stole that game over Florida on Saturday. So it is possible that Koskinen could be a decent goaltender for that next season. Obviously not at $4.5 million. That's too high. But they could bring him back for cheaper, which will eat into that $7 million cap space for next year. Kyle Curtis, $1.65 million, 22 games, 1 goal, 3 assists. He's turned away with a couple of times this year. I don't think with the $1.65 million price tag there's a market. Chris Russell, $1.25 million due to injuries. He's only played 20 games, 4 assists, and they miss some money out. They do. Chris Russell's shot blocking machine out there. I think he's a decent option on the blue line. probably. And so they decide to bring it back next year. Probably the price tag would be about the same, which again, that's where we're going. And then the restricted free agents are going to make it so there's some issues there too. Kyle Yamamoto, 52 games, 10 goals, 19 points. Probably a great deal for Yamamoto, but it would be a raise over what he does now. Brandon Perlini, 23 games, 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points. I'm kind of surprised Perlini's a restricted free agent. I'm surprised he doesn't have enough time in the NHL to be a UFA, but I mean, if they decide to bring it back, it will be cheap enough. Same with Benson, 26 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. William Lagesson, 25 games, 4 assists. He's been decent in the third pairing option. Nemo Linus turned some heads. In some cases, it might be a fan's head because he threw a big hit, and in some cases, the player's head because he got hit pretty hard for the US last 16 games.
What I believe is, I believe with the right tools.
And just the 1 assist for Nemo Linus, he is this physical force out there, and so I think he's got a good upside there. Puljujarvi, 46 games, 12 goals, 16 assists, 28 points. Puljujarvi likely is going to be looking for, I'll say a 3 or 4 year deal. I don't know that 1 or 2 years is going to do it for him. And then the question becomes, how much is he worth at this point? How much upside is there offensively? So are you going to maybe look at a longer term deal that might have a little bit of a cap hit that might scare people? However, you see Puljujarvi as being part of the future, or what are you going to do? And again, that cap hit for next season is part of the issue. Blake Smith, 5-7-1 record, 8.93 8%. He had a good game against Carolina yesterday. I think he would state straight out he has not been overly happy with some of his games this year. He's been pretty honest throughout his career. The question then becomes, so Stuart Skinner, who's 6-6 with a 9.13 save percent. Do you go with Skinner? And if you go with Skinner, do you wait one of the other goaltenders, or do you carry 3 goaltenders? So if they decide to bring up Skinner, then they have to make another choice somewhere along the way. Unless, of course, Smith's still dealing with a nagging injury, which can happen, right? You see goalies trying to play through injury. Most recently, of course, Steve Rask on his return Friday. He gave 4 games, and it was clear that he was not himself. And so with Smith, maybe he's starting to come out of that. Maybe he's starting to become the goaltender he was last season. Smith's put up very good numbers as an Oiler, and this year his numbers are just unusually low. The biggest question with Smith has been his age and what the plan is going forward for the Oilers, and then once he's retired. As far as the idea being that Koskinen probably go, Koskinen is in his 30s as well, right? So there are some question marks about their goaltending. And so if the playoffs were starting today, and let's say the Oilers were in, that would be a question mark that I think we would rightfully have with that team. Now the top 6 forward group is good, and I've got 7 forwards listed this time. David Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, who's currently out with injury, Kane, Hyman, Puljujarvi, Yamamoto. Hyman's contract I think is good for this year. Hyman's contract may not age very well. I'll say by like year 3. We may be having discussions about contracts for Zach Hyman. But he's been good this year. And the scoring is pretty good for them. Right? And when the offense is going, their power play is fantastic. Their top 4 defense, there are already some questions about. So you have Darnell Nurse, who plays 26 minutes and 60 seconds per game. Nurse, of course, has a big extension that kicks in this offseason for a ton of money. And Nurse plays a lot of minutes. He is going to earn that money for the minutes he plays, for the tough minutes. I think Nurse is a very good defenseman. I don't know where I'd rank him amongst the best defensemen in the league. I haven't sat down and done that in a while, but I think Nurse is pretty darn good. Now, Tyson Barrie's only playing 19 minutes and 21 seconds per game. He's more of your power play point man, and he doesn't play as many minutes as like Duncan Keith when he's in there, 20 minutes and 22 seconds on average. Bouchard, 20 minutes, 30 seconds on average. Evan Bouchard has very, very solid season. Makes a good advantage. The total season 20 minutes and 42 seconds for him. It's been an up and down year for CC. And to me, and I have it in a different color because I haven't played, and that's also for club ball. They miss club ball. I've been a fan of club ball for years, and the Oilers not having the blue line, I think it directly impacted the penalty kill, their overall defensive numbers, and maybe it also means that some of these these are things that have an effect on the overall fortunes of the Edmonton Oilers. Now, with the cap space for next year in mind, right, and it's going to be in mind quite a bit. And for people who remember in the last days that he was Detroit's general manager, Holland had a similar problem where they had a lot of contracts, were pretty good contracts. He treats his players well, but it didn't leave the wings with a lot of cap space, and then the advocator contract was being quite high. And so what we have right now with Edmonton is we've got Warren Fogle, who makes $2.75 million, so that's cap hit, until 2024. I like Fogle, but if there's a contract that maybe you trade out because you're looking for cap space next year, that might be it. And keep in mind, the reason I'm bringing this up too is we can all understand that the Oilers are going to be in the market for goaltenders. There's an article at least once a week about the Oilers and the goaltenders who might fit, who might work. But it has to work under their cap space, which they don't have right now. And it kind of has to work towards next year too, unless it's the more flexible. Welcome back. So in my videos looking at the trade deadline, and I'm going to say this, I did create a playlist today to get all the videos in one spot, so this will be part of that playlist. So as we're getting closer to the trade deadline, and it's long enough between videos too, but I want to make sure that people can go and get a playlist there. So we'll talk about Tampa, because Tampa's in an interesting position, right? Defending Stanley Cup champions from 2021 final pack. Of course, they won it in 2020 as well, so it's, and they do it 3 times in a row. So when you look at the standings, the answer would seem to indicate they could. So Florida right now leads the division, right? 53 games, 35-13 and 5 record for 75 points. 708 points percentage. Their points percentage has come down. So all I have to do is make a video about how parity has gone away this year, and all of a sudden all those teams above 700 have started losing some games. But we are 2 months from the end of the season, so it's not something that we don't usually see where teams will go through that. So Tampa Bay right now, 51 games played, so that's 31 left, and we have left of 2 exactly 2 months from the end of the season. So 34-11 and 6 records, 74 points, 725 points percentage. So due to Florida losing a few in a row at home in regulation, it opens the door now for Tampa Bay to potentially be first in the division. Toronto is third in the division, 52 games, 34-14-4, 72 points, 692 points percentage. So for all of the issues Toronto's had, and for all of the issues that I think get overanalyzed and kind of blown up because Toronto is the most dissected team and looked at team in the league, the reality is they're only 3 points behind Florida and they have a game in hand. They're only 2 points behind Tampa Bay having a game in hand on them. So the race for first place is not done. Boston doesn't really have much of a chance, but I'll throw them on here because they're the other playoff team in the division, right? 52 games, 31-17 and 4 records, 66 points, 635 points percentage. To their credit, Boston's won 4 in a row. They've pulled within 9 points of first place, within 6 points of Toronto, and within 8 points of Tampa Bay. So it's unlikely that they get there, but they're on board. Now, deadline cap space, according to Cap Friendly, $100,000. So they can afford like a vendor or I don't know, maybe an upgrade to their Zamboni. In reality, Tampa Bay does not have cap space. They also don't have draft picks this year. They don't have any picks between rounds 2 and 4 for this season. So they would be trading out draft picks from 2023, which they were maybe dangling that first round pick. And then, GM can just take the draft off, right? If you're not drafting round 7, but if you're not drafting much, well, again, you're kind of all in. It's understandable this team would be all in, though. The other thing that's interesting is, next season, according to Cap Friendly, they already don't have any cap space for next year. But I do believe that with Cap Friendly, they're counting Seabrook, who's $6.875 million, is on the books till 2024. So he's on LTIR, he's not playing again, his career is done as a player, but his contract will continue. So that very likely is why they're showing absolutely no cap space for next year. So that would mean $6.875 million in cap space next year, which is not a ton. It's not a ton of cap space when you look at the players that are up, right? So 2019, they lose in the first round, of course, against Columbus. Spectacular flame out by the Tampa Bay Lightning. 2020 and 2021 Stanley Cups, of course, follow that, and now they're looking for their third in a row. When we look at their lineup, it is remarkable how strong their top six is, and it is also remarkable how much scoring they get from their bottom six. So you've got Palat, Point, Kucherov. Palat is a UFA this summer. Them not having cap space will make it difficult for them to sign Palat, especially since they've also got Ruda as a UFA, so they're going to have to replace the defenseman unless that comes from within. And that top six forward spot with Palat. There are others in this lineup who might be able to move up. So Palat's got 15 goals, 18 assists, 33 points. He is an underrated player. He could very well go somewhere else or more, and he's getting to be in a position to, you would think, excel elsewhere. Think along the lines of like Verhage in Florida. Not on that same level. Verhage had a dramatic upswing, but Palat, I think, if he was on another team, probably would score a bit more. He doesn't sound big in Tampa. Reed got great points, 20 goals, 15 assists, 36 points for him. Makes $9.5 million until 2030. The Tampa Bay Lightning do not have a player that makes $10 million or more. And look for that to be a talking point a lot, because it does get discussed. How a team with a player that makes $10 million or more per season has never won the Stanley Cup. The only thing with that is you've got Kucherov at $9.5 million, Point at $9.5 million. I don't know that I can take it to that level and say, you know, if Kucherov made another $500,000, they wouldn't win the Stanley Cup. Anyway, Kucherov is $9.5 million. He's played 16 games so far, 9 goals, 15 assists, 24 points. When he's in the lineup, he's excellent. And he makes that $9.5 million until 2027. And you've got Alex Killorn, whose name comes up a lot. Look for a name to come up again, probably in the offseason. 16 goals, 29 assists, 45 points. Might be his best season he's ever had. And at $4.45 million, his contract expires next season. Don't be too surprised if he does get moved, so they have more cap space for next year. But if they lose Palat and Killorn, that would kind of be odd. Maybe you let go of Killorn to re-sign Palat. Maybe you let go of Palat and you decide to keep Killorn and extend him this summer. Either way, they do have some decisions to make there. Maybe let him go and look for upgrades, right? Cirelli, 13 goals, 15 assists, 29 points. His contract, not long-term, but he's still a restricted free agent at the end of it. So the restricted free agents, I'm not overly concerned with $4.8 million cap hit. With his production right now, I don't know that he would get more than that. I'm aware of how good he is as a two-way forward. I'm not sure that he will get that raise at the end of it. Stamkos, 25 goals, 34 assists for him for 59 points, makes $8.5 million until 2024. And I would expect that the rumor mill will get going with Stamkos probably this summer before we get to the actual beginning of free agent friendlies, because Tampa Bay would want some space. I don't think Stamkos is going anywhere. Maroon, 9 goals, 9 assists for him. He's performing very well for Tampa. Again, the one-man dynasty, right? He's won the last 3 Stanley Cups. He's got 2019 ring in St. Louis, and he's got the Stanley Cups in Tampa the last 2 years. So he is a dynasty all in and of himself. Bellemare, 6 goals, 9 assists for 15 points. And for Bellemare, it's been a very good season for him. He's fit in very well in Tampa, and it shows that they're very smart about who they pick up from other organizations when they have to fill spots in the lineup. They're able to pick a guy out like Bellemare without overpaying, and he just fits. They know how to make them fit. That's what I'm saying. Corey Perry has been fantastic lately. 14 goals, 14 assists for him on the season, and he's signed for a $1 million cap hit next season too. So it is a huge bargain for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And they're able to get those bargain deals in part because they are the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're the two-time Stanley Cup champions. You can get a guy like Corey Terry come in and sign for less because he wants to win. He made it funny, and he wants to win. Taylor Radish, 4 goals, 6 assists. He's been good. He's one of those guys that, Tampa Bay brings him in, and eventually they may play a more prominent role, right? Ross Cole, 9 goals, 11 assists, same thing. He could end up playing a more prominent role later. And Matthew Joseph, who's an RFA this year, 8 goals, 8 assists, 16 points. And if you watch Joseph play, all you can think when you see those numbers is he should have more than that, shouldn't he? And so there are definitely players in the Tampa Bay lineup who, if they lose Palat, if they lose Killorn, or something like that happens, you have guys who can step up. They always have the next player up. It works out pretty well. There's Boris Katchouk, who's not on this list. 36 games, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points, and he provides them with a different look as well. They can score, they can play defense, they can play the physical game if you want to, they can play the big man's hockey if that's what you're looking for. And then on the blue line, look no further than Hedman with 11 goals and 40 assists, 51 points. He's going to be prominent in Norris Trophy talk all the time. $7.875 million cap hit until 2025. Another player that gets below market value in Tampa. I know the tax thing always comes up as well. The taxes are lower. Players are also going to be willing to take less money to play for a season they know they'll get developed successfully. Jan Ruda is a UFA this summer. He's had a very good year defensively. 2 goals, 10 assists for him. And he's fit in pretty well. But in the case that if he were to go to the market, Tampa Bay would likely pick somebody else up. And again, that's where the need for cap space for next year comes in. And then it's, could you sacrifice if you're looking to pick up more cap space later if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, Ryan McDonough, 2 goals, 16 assists for him on the season. He's been very, very good. $6.75 million cap hit until 2026. I still think at some point in time, Tampa Bay Lightning look at that $6.75 million cap hit and they figure something else. And again, I know how good McDonough is. I know how important he is to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I also know that part of how they get here and they stay here has been through knowing when to cut ties with certain players and who to pick up and all that. I can see there being a point where they look at McDonough and they say, you know what, we can move him out. We can put bring Sergachev's ice time up as Sergachev keeps getting better, and then look to sign somebody else, right? So I could see that happening at some point. Not yet, we're not there. Chernak only the 24 games from this year, goal and 6 assists. Very important player who does miss a long time. Sergachev, 2 goals, 22 assists for him, 24 assists for 26 points. Very good season for Sergachev.
Nicorette Quick Mix gets to work on your cravings in just 60 seconds.
Johnny A. Sure. You're grounded. Sure. Everybody, listen up. You may not look like winning, but you are one. They like one too. Every advance I can handle like that. Every card that's got your arm. Every first pitch strike. Batting average goes down to about 75 points. 75 points. You should be throwing 100 pitches. This would be knocked out. I want you taking that bad from 10 to 11 pitches. Easy basic breakdown of all the rotations, 50 switch, 1, 1 swap, 2 switch. Yeah. Yeah. baby.
No, it's okay.
Oh! Oh, what? Ammo?
Special.
Okay, look at this. Yup, you're definitely gonna be hired.
Oh man, I ain't making seven. Yankees can't have this now. That's what the New York Yankees think. They're paying you $3.5 million to play against them. We're going to How about you and I be honest about what it's been for? I want to know the last gun of baseball you got in. You want to say it yourself? I'm not paying you for the player you used to be. I'm paying you for the player you are right now. Be smart. Get what we're trying to do here. Make an example for the younger guys. Be a leader. Do that? All right. We're cool? Got it. First day, man.
My new head coach. That is a bit better. Rock.
Someone bunts on us. Another thing, no more secrets. What I do. Hey, you get on first. I get going after next. The process. Okay?
you choose to have your next adventure, go with Avion and fly on any airline, any flight, anytime, even at the last minute. Switch to our...
Friday delays, gets to the win of Sorensen, and now a foot race. Marcus Sorensen, Braun joining the run. Sorensen shot, seen by Hellebuck, and a train wreck at the end boards. 4 players involved, including Bufflin. We hope there's no one hurt.
Bufflin just knocked down 3 guys at once. The big buff, 260 pounds. Watch the shot. Look at Bufflin push Braun, and down they go. Look out, here he goes. Working against Riley. What a move. Look at that! Are you watching this? What a brilliant piece of work from Connor McDavid. Wow. One-on-one McDavid. He's looking for options. Fakes like he's going to go across, then cuts back. And you're not going to catch him at that point. Gets Hutchinson to fight and puts it underneath the bar for a 6-3 lead.
That's presenting the Red Wings. Oh, next soon with the first shot. Save here. Okay, quick save there. He has to get across. Now they get it. He does. Look at that split.
Anybody else on the Avalanche team able to beat the Power Electric during the first period? Hard hit by Eckelby. This is what the Avalanche are looking for from Bradley. Now that's a hit. No question, but that doesn't matter. My man got knocked down. You've got to come across. Bradley is going to come across. And Axelby has to be one strong and two, and there's 3 Avalanche players in.
Sees Parker Broadband to the goal. He scores! Another backhander by Sid gives the Penguins a 1-0 lead, which is 8.2 ticks.
Great shot on the backhand. Absolutely. You try that at home. I'm telling you, folks, that's near impossible. It's near impossible as well. Robert McGavin, one-handed wrist shot. You talk about wrist tape there.
He kept it out. The whistle blows. The puck's in his net. Oh my goodness. Hands off the Goldman. Taking it to Hudson scored. This is an absolutely obscene stop by Goldman. Full split trip here going stymied on a cross-crease effort. The puck was tantalizingly dancing across the goal line, and somehow by the hamstrings of Goldman, it stays out.
Joanne Weber, one-timer block, and that hurt Eriksson Ek, and he is slow to get up. That stung. Ouch. Take advantage. He can't move very well. Zano, back pass for Drouin. Jonathan Drouin looking to start a new point streak tonight. Drouin, Weber, one-timer, and save player Eriksson Ek. Stung twice. Gallagher takes the one-timer. Picks up near boards. Do it again. 3-0 Montreal, and Shea Weber just wore out Joel Eriksson Ek. You want to kill penalties in NHL? Take a look at this. 1, 2, and 3 in a row. And Eriksson Ek limps off the ice. I cannot tell you how scary that is and how much that hurts.
And then just back Hit the post, rebound, score, Sammy. Are they going to rule it on goal? No goal, Mikey, I swear to God. This is Frankie Pietrangelo to save it all over again, folks. This is tremendous. The best save you'll ever want to see in the game of hockey. Just watch it. You're not going to believe it, right? Can you believe that? Robbie. The mic went on. The goal just turned the light on. You'll see it. I tell you, folks, that is an incredible save. Crosby's looking at the goal line. He can't believe it. Look at the ball. Did it go over the goal line? That's what they're looking at upstairs here. Did Crosby go out? Go over the goal line. No. He made to the front. Looking up like he's been there. Derek Ryan was out in front. Look at the team. Still here he comes. Scores! Lightning fast. Connor McDavid. Oilers lead 2-1. You just can't give Connor McDavid that kind of...
Back they need a big game from the field because when the team you centering centering pass, dead protect. Check away, Lemieux's out in front of the right run track on the angle on Lemieux and run. Lemieux again. Score! That's Lemieux goal. His seventh short-handed goal of the year. And Pittsburgh leads it 2-1. 5-on-3 power play for Pittsburgh Penguins here. Make up a full 2 minutes. Score! Dario Lemieux, the perfect trick. Lemieux is a perfect hat trick, 3 in the first period, and we're only halfway through his 4th hat trick of the year. Lemieux. That's it. He is equal to tie in points in a game. 4 goals for Dario Lemieux, a penalty shot. 6-4 Pittsburgh. Crosby has Lemieux, got it to him, 2 seconds. He shot, he scores. That's what Lemieux's in the field for. Get ready to get paid for it. There's star, Dario Lemieux. 2 saves, rebound, taken by the Oilers. Back to Gretzky. Big trying to get back. They got 2 men back. Evans going to have to score that. Gretzky across the same line. Still with it. Gretzky stops. Gretzky in front. Gretzky left side shooting. Scores! A short-handed goal for Wayne Gretzky. And the Oilers play 2-0. Gretzky has a short-handed goal with 6 first in the playoffs. 4 of them now against the Kings. Come to Sarah. On the send out the handle of the 6th wall, Ovechkin appears to move in the lane. Ovechkin full speed to the inside. He scores! Absolutely brilliant! On a broken play, he gets around Hammerlin. They get offside defense to take them down. That's Chikrin supporting the defense. And then it's all Alex all the time. Getting around on his gun and scoops and past Carey Price. Suspecting of the great players and great play. You don't have to know. I like to hear this.
Yeah, what? Check it out. Good one. How'd you like that? Elementary, CharlesTown. I remember that class. But, just between the weekends and home. You relax. No, what? You got to funny when you think. You get in the box. No. There's no problem. I was just hoping you might be insight evolution of the market in the other companies. My contention is that iron is a revolutionary force. The economic modality is special. CharlesTown is most revolutionary. Right. Please, now, what's that? Hang on a second. First is that. You mentioned that that's one thing you get the same level. Talking about how you thought we're entrepreneurial and with that before. That's the level that we talk about, revolutionary utopia and the capital forming effect of military mobilization. Matter of fact, there won't would drastically underestimate Hardcore does long, focus on our goal for